Hey GDQ, I'm Frosted GH, a Guitar Hero streamer. The submission I have for today is going to be a 30 to 40 minute showcase of rhythm gaming perfection, or at least to the point where I can do it. The idea is to set up a set list that is both amusing to the people watching and shows off what the community is about in terms of all of the separate skill sets that can be shown. So, of course, what chat is going to want, what the people inside the convention are going to want, are going to be things like Through the Fire and Flames. So that's what I've chosen to start with here, which I am promptly going to try to get one-handed just to spark things up, since that's not too big of a difficulty for the people involved in the Clone Hero community anymore. Speaking of which, the game that I'm playing here isn't Guitar Hero 3, it's not a modded variant of Guitar Hero at all. It's a standalone game that was created by the community to house specific charts and run them as if it was a game, you know, a normal Guitar Hero game. Since this is one of those games where focus is extremely important, I was hoping to get a couple people on couch commentary to do most of the speaking for me, because I'd rather be able to focus for high-tier gameplay. I believe Asai28 is going to be in attendance, or at the very least other runners like Plomado, who does the Tony Hawk Pro Skater runs, will be there. And he's well involved in the community. I'm not planning on restarting any songs if I miss as well, because that ruins the flow. But there's a very good chance most of these songs aren't going to be 100%. I'm hoping I'll be able to get Through the Fire and Flames first try. I've done it a lot of times, but there's always that chance that stage fright happens. In which case, it's still entertaining to watch a -1. Especially when this is the easiest song in the set list that I put together today. Funnily enough, the community has gone so far past normal standards that Through the Fire and Flames is mostly considered an easy song by the standards of top players nowadays, especially people like Randy Ladyman, whose skills specialize in timing strumming and intensive fret movements. The song's been actually 100% FC'd, not just blindfolded, but on 150% speed as well. That was good. The one-hand FC is in the bag. Now there's a few other worrying sections for a one-handed run of this song. That being What the, Twin Solo, and I guess to a lesser degree Red Snake in So Far Away 3, which is nowhere near as bad for me. Everything else is pretty easy if I focus. Also, there's plenty of room for donation incentive as well. Specific songs can be donated to be played as well in the showcase, as it's not too much of a hassle to load an extra one. In fact, Through the Fire and Flames on its own could be an incentive. Whoa. Aw. That's fine. That section is pretty tough. Ooh. Did not expect to miss that. Fair enough. Alright. A pitiful performance, but that's fine. Almost went to go tap for some reason. So, not too bad. 957, probably -4. Not terrible. The song that I selected next is Jordan from Guitar Hero 2, but sped up to 150% speed. I picked this one because I figured it would be a good way of showing off that these really difficult songs of old are no longer an issue, even sped up. This intro is also very easy and boring, so it would be a great time for reading donations and things of that rarity. This is also the first time I'll show off the slide tapping technique, which is essentially a technique that allows you to input multiple times with one motion. And rake tapping right there. All techniques that most of the community makes use of. The song's actually been FC'd on twice normal speed by Side28. It's not something I'm comfortable of doing on stage, though. Probably not. That was my fault entirely. And here's where we finally start to get into more of what the community is more known for in the YouTube scape. The ridiculous custom songs. I believe I selected Patterns 4 Plus next. A difficult song by Schmutzo6. Which I've recently gotten 7 stars on 150% speed, but I'm not comfortable enough to do that again. Couch Commentary could probably go in depth about how all of these patterns make sense in the current engine structure, because I am tapping chords. That's just how the game works. I love this section. I really do. It's definitely really fun. Sections that have all the notes as strums are very, very difficult. Oh yeah, I don't have tilt. I should know that. That's another thing to mention. I am using a Wii guitar and a foot pedal to activate star power. Aww. That's a very tough section. Here's another section where we use slide tapping. This time against a ladder gradient. Ooh, nice. That's a lot harder than it looks. At one point, when this song was FC'd first, it was considered the best achievement from the community. Now it's way down the ladder, and I think that was just about 1.5 years ago when this was first FC'd. FC standing for full combo, meaning getting 100% of the notes in a row without overstrumming or dropping your combo by the end of... I remember the grind for this song, I was the person that FC'd it first, took me around, I think, 10 months to get. And while it's not trivial anymore, it's definitely a lot easier for me. I could very well get this song re-FC'd within a couple tries if necessary. In fact, I've done it sped up. I've done it on 110 even with the all-strum section at the beginning. The all-strum section at the beginning is really interesting because it's the thing that stops the song from having infinite speed-up value. In all technicality, without that strum section, this could be FC'd on 150% speed, which, granted, would be the best accomplishment ever, but since that strum section exists, it's not possible or feasible. I feel like the strum section can be hit on that speed, but it's not something that people would be comfortable enough doing in a run after hitting the quints. Those methods right there are mostly flair. There's no reason for me to one-hand those quints the way I do, or tap the notes there the way I do, other than I like the way it looks when on video. And also, these sections can be alt-taps. I just do a disjointed rake tap method for consistency. More slide tapping. Switching back and forth between standard tap and reverse standard tap, and back to normal. I really like this song in specific because it gets to show off so much of the tech. That's really interesting to see. Which is interesting. Most of the tech of this game that people use nowadays was discovered well past whenever this game was popular in terms of mainstream media. Back whenever this game was popular, Through the Fire and Flames and things like Chemical Warfare were still considered, like, the best of the best, you know? Only, you know, 2013 onwards were things like rake tapping, slide tapping, and things like that discovered, mostly from the efforts of myself and other people in the plastic guitar community. I believe slide tapping was found, not sure by who. Slide tapping kind of just started being a thing that people did. I don't remember who originated it. Rake strumming wasn't really invented by anyone because it's so obvious. You just flick your finger past and register extra strums. I know rake tapping, however, was used before I started using it, but whenever I created it, based off what I figured was going to work, and got the first FC of Monster Trill, is when it started becoming popularized. So while I wouldn't take credit for being the first person to find it, I will take a little bit of credit for being the person who introduced rake tapping, disjoint raking, and things of that variety to the community. Which is interesting, because now, since a lot more people are using these strategies, we've pushed the bounds of what's possible in the rhythm gaming sphere to way new heights. At this point, the only thing limiting us is our physical speed, which is essentially just relying on how well your genes react to your Twitch muscle fibers, which is a strange thing to say, because we're limited by biology at this point, not by our own skill sets. That's how far we've taken the skill gap of this game. That screech at the end was Darkly in Darkness getting the first FC of the original chart of Patterns 4, not the plus chart. The creator of this song added that in as a bit of a nod to his contribution. This next song that I selected is Closer from the original Guitar Hero 3 on 125% speed, and I know what that sounds like. It's gonna be easy, right? It's an overchart. Meaning, there are much more notes than necessary. This is where I really get to start showing off some of the stupid mass tapping patterns, like quint zigs and things of that variety. And we get a banger along with it. This song became a bit of a meme in the community because Mr. Greg Murphy, somebody who helped contribute to lots of original custom songs back in the day in GH Tunes, and resident meme lord of the community, decided to make this overchart and call it an underchart, which means to make easier than original. So yeah, this is much easier than original chart, clearly. Ah, that's tough. Oh, fine though. That's not the hardest bit of the song either. This section coming up is definitely much more difficult.
America, explain!
That's my Twitch alerts. Sorry, forgot to mention I was streaming during this. Thank you for the Prime sub, HV. Ooh. Got it. Haha. Those are, on this speed, I believe 80 notes per second. Nice. Haha. There we go. Just one miss, not too bad. I love that there's that just extra note there. Alright. Next song I chose is a song by my friend Metallica AXS called Cataclysm, which, as you can see, is very technical. And it also shows off transitional ability, because you have to switch from strumming to tapping quite frequently. And there's also a section at the very end that can show off somewhat close to my max physical speed in terms of taps per second. But everything else is quads, quints, overall difficult sections. In terms of consistency with these songs, I'm sure I'll at least get one song FC'd at the event, so long as I'm not commentating. I mean, I can commentate a little bit, clearly, but It'd be better if I had my full focus directly on getting FCs. A little bit of a break there. This is another one of those sections where donations can be read. I'll have to work with my chat to find donation incentives for this. Because there's a lot of community-specific memes that have cropped up, but I don't know what the general public would be interested in. Yet, at least. That's a fun section. Whew. That looks really disgusting, but it's pretty easy once you break it down. That's also something can be done by couch commentators, I suppose, breaking down how specific patterns are hit. That one in specific is a quint X chimney, which is essentially a descending quad with your right hand and a quint fret with your left. And here comes the final solo, aka the hardest bit of the song. Nice. Nice. I missed the strum bar. Wow, nice. I should have gotten away with that. Wow. Or that. Oh yeah, I didn't get away with it. Okay, good. And despite these songs being made by the community for the community, they still sound awesome. Alright. Forgot what I picked next. Something, right? Prevail, maybe? Yes. No, Paraffin. Ah. This song right here is what I theorize to be the hardest possible song that can be 100%ed by the current community. So this really gets to show off transition, strumming tech, just a bunch of things. I believe my best run on this song is a -14. Yeah, that's something. Such a weird, complex pattern. Honestly, not a bad run. It's not terrible. Improvable for sure, but not bad. That was a minus 29. Not terrible. Now this song is a chiptune custom. It's called Prevail by my friend Jarvis9999. It's currently what I consider my best accomplishment. Getting 100% on this definitely won't happen. And it's what the community Ed Wyatt considers the best 100% FC as of the current moment of this submission. There's a lot of things in this song that just make it terrible. For start, the hardest bit is 2.5 minutes in, so if you miss, you have to re-sit through this entire intro. And then this section at the end is an accuracy-reliant section. An accuracy-reliant section that's after 1.5 minutes of stamina tapping. And something that's not super obvious, it is extremely, extremely hard to be accurate with inputs if your arms are tired. So while the section on its own might not be terrible, once you compound all of the arm strain that you're putting yourself through before getting to it, makes it 1,000,000 times more difficult. In fact, I got up to the section only once in a run because of how much stamina it took to get there. I was very, very lucky just to get to it even once. I had 34 chokes past the hardest part of the song before getting it. Here comes the hardest bit. The section is known as staggering A. It's a transition between 24 notes per second trills and 12 notes per second strumming repetitively. Which you'll see why it's the hardest bit. Oh my gosh! Wow! Okay. I'm gonna focus now. Okay, fair enough. Okay, and here comes the stamina tapping intensive stuff. Okay. That was definitely a run. Alright. And this comes to the last song that I selected for the showcase, which essentially takes all of the mechanics of this game and reversifies it, takes advantage of oversights and little insignificant problems that eventually turn into what makes what I call a masterpiece of charting, Maelstrom by Tut Tut Child. There's gonna have to be a lot of explaining in this one, because none of it makes sense. This is also another song that I've 100% FC'd before. Yeah! Whoop. Alright, outside of timing mistakes, this is a pretty great run too. And that'll be about it. There we go. I hope you guys consider taking this as a submission for a rhythm game showcase. Something that I do all the time. It's really fun, and I'm sure that the crowd would like it just as well.